All right, today I'm going to be working on the tractor here. I've pretty much finished up a lot of the work this year around the property, and so I like to spend this time to work on the tractor a little bit. And so I'm going to be working on replacing the fuel filter and then showing you how to bleed the fuel lines. So I have a TC33D tractor, you know, just a compact tractor, 33 horsepower diesel. And so to change the fuel filter, the first thing I do is close the fuel right here. So this is the fuel shutoff right here, and then the fuel filter is in this bowl right here, and that's going to be full of diesel. So you go to release this, and you're going to get diesel everywhere. So I have a pan in the bottom, and the filter should come with it. There we go. So here's the bowl. Dang. And here's the old fuel filter. So what I take with the bowl, it still has some fuel in here, is I dump it in a mason jar. I'm going to show you guys all this. So what I do is I keep a clear mason jar to kind of see the junk in that bowl, to see how much water's in there as well. A lot of times I get water in the fuel. I don't know, it's just where I get it from or what, but also I'm going to let this flow out a little bit pretty soon. But so there's the old one. You can see the difference. Quite a bit of junk in there. And this is not very old, maybe a couple months. That's it. Just maybe, you know, 4 or 5 times bush hogging. So that's quite filled up. And this is the new one. But before I put this in, a couple things is here's the mason jar. You can see a bunch of trash in there, so I'll dump that out. I have a pan down here that you can't see. So I'm going to try to, I can't remember how far that, yeah. Put this bowl back and let the fuel run out real quick, just to try to catch some. I think sometimes there's a little bit of water there at the bottom. I don't know if it's just this one time that I got it recently that it had a lot of water in it or something, but this one looks fine. It's easier to see in this clear jar than it is this plastic bowl. Doesn't seem to be too, there's a little bit of trash that's still left over from the jar, but no water really. So what I do is I put the new one back up there, kind of stick it in, and you don't want this bowl to go back up full of air. So I just release the fuel to open it up a little bit, and it's going to fill this bowl up and run out the top. All right, then shut it back off, and then get this seated right, and then there we go. All right, so the bowl is on there, new filter, and it's full of fuel, hopefully no air. However, when you took all that off, the fuel drained from this little drain line here. So this line, or this, you know, feed line that feeds it to the engine, so this is going to have some air in it. And to get that out, you're going to have to bleed the fuel line, and I'll show you that here next. So we're going to turn this back open so the fuel is on, and what you have to do is we'll open this bleeder nut over here, this bleeder screw, and then we'll crank the engine a little bit. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. And then you'll see when you crank the engine that some air bubbles start coming out of that, and that's when you know that when that stops happening, there'll be like mixture of fuel and air bubbles. When that stops and it's just fuel, then you can just close the valve. So I'll get you zoomed in closer, and I'm going to start it, and I'll show you what we got going on. Okay, let's see if I can get in here. So this is the bleeder screw right here. This is a 13mm wrench. Kind of barely fits in there. So unscrew it a couple of turns. Don't take it all the way out, but that's just to get it loose. That should be enough. Then you just kind of crank the engine. See those air bubbles coming out of there? All right, you probably didn't have to loosen it extra as much as I did, but there you go. So you got just a little bit. You can see how it kind of struggles at the beginning. It's got some air in there, and that's just, it's blowing the air out of that screw, that bleeder valve, that bleeder screw here. So it's blowing the air out of that while the engine's kind of struggling, and then it'll, you know, once the air gets out of there, it starts running really well. So this is a lot easier than the old tractor that I had, that I actually had to do it at where the fuel leads into the engine for each piston, but this one's just one master, one for the engine, for all the cylinders. So this is the bleeder screw. Loosen it up while you crank it to get the air out, and the fuel filters down below in this bowl. So that's it. Pretty simple. I kind of do it pretty often, you know, maybe twice a year, something like that. It kind of depends on what I'm doing, but there you go. So quick little easy thing to do to keep your engine running smooth.